History is full of endings. Some are tragic, some triumphant. But a rare few are blank pages, stories that simply stop, leaving only questions where answers should be. From vanished aviators and missing labor leaders to entire colonies erased from the map, these disappearances remain unsolved, unclaimed, and unforgettable. Tonight, we step inside 12 of the greatest mysteries in human history, disappearances that still haunt the world. 1. Amelia Earhart, the final flight. She broke records. She shattered expectations. And then she vanished. On July 2, 1937, Amelia Earhart set out to become the first person to circle the globe at the equator. The world watched in awe as the pioneering aviator and her navigator, Fred Noonan, crossed oceans and continents. But somewhere over the Pacific, the radio turned to static. And then, nothing. Some believe they ran out of fuel and plunged into the sea. Others insist they made an emergency landing on Gardner Island, close but not close enough. Declared legally dead in 1939, Earhart remains aviation's greatest unsolved mystery. And now, nearly a century later, a new search effort claims it may have found evidence of her plane, reigniting hope that the final chapter may still be written. 2. Jimmy Hoffa, the man everyone wanted gone. Few figures in American history had more friends and more enemies than Jimmy Hoffa. A titan of the labor movement, Hoffa wielded enormous power at the helm of the Teamsters Union. Power he amplified through ties to organized crime. On July 30, 1975, Hoffa left home to meet with mob figures at a Detroit restaurant. He never returned. His enemies were many. His fate was never confirmed. But over the years, countless criminals have claimed credit for his disappearance. None could prove it. Today, Hoffa remains the king of American cold cases. 3. The lost colony of Roanoke. In 1585, Sir Walter Raleigh attempted to plant England's first permanent colony in North America. Over 100 settlers took root on Roanoke Island. 5 years later, rescue ships arrived to find nothing. No bodies, no signs of struggle, not a single colonist. Only one word carved into a wooden post: Croton. Did they join the tribes nearby? Were they killed? Or did something else, something unrecorded, wipe the colony off the earth? Centuries of speculation have brought us no closer to the truth. 4. Ambrose Bierce, the writer who walked into war. Ambrose Bierce was one of America's most celebrated writers, a Civil War veteran, a satirist, and the author of An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. But in 1913, at age 71, he set off on a final journey across old battlefields and into Mexico, where a revolution was raging. He joined Pancho Villa's forces, marched with them to Chihuahua, and then he vanished. Some believe he died in battle. Others claim he was executed, possibly by Villa himself. No trace of the writer was ever found. 5. D.B. Cooper, the skyjacker who escaped the world. On Thanksgiving Eve, 1971, a mysterious man calling himself Dan Cooper hijacked a Boeing 727, secured a $200,000 ransom, and parachuted into the night sky. He was never seen again. Not a single confirmed piece of evidence, except a bundle of ransom bills found years later on a riverbank, has ever surfaced. The FBI closed the case. Amateur sleuths have not. Over 50 years later, the name D.B. Cooper still floats somewhere between legend and ghost story. 6. Belle Gunness, America's female serial killer who vanished. Belle Gunness seemed like a grieving widow, a woman beset by tragedy. But behind closed doors, she was one of the most prolific killers in American history. Insurance scams, dead suitors, missing children. In 1908, her farmhouse burned down. 4 bodies were found inside, one presumed to be Gunness herself. But her hired hand soon confessed. Belle Gunness had faked her death and escaped. She was never seen again. The bodies she left behind were just the beginning. 7. Solomon Northup. Freedom, then silence. Solomon Northup's kidnapping and 12-year enslavement were documented in extraordinary detail in his memoir, 12 Years a Slave. But it is his life after freedom that remains a mystery. Northup returned home in 1853, became a national speaker, and then quietly faded from public life. Sometime around 1863, he disappeared completely. No body, no record, no final chapter for one of America's most important historical witnesses. 8. Agatha Christie's 11 Days of Silence. Agatha Christie, the world's most famous mystery writer, became the subject of her own real-life mystery in 1926. After marital turmoil and a sudden departure from her home, Christie vanished. Her abandoned car sparked a nationwide search. 11 days later, she was found at a spa hotel, registered under the name of her husband's mistress. Christie claimed amnesia. To this day, historians debate what really happened during those missing days. Even the queen of crime left behind a mystery she never solved. 9. The Shohola train wreck escapees. The Civil War is one of the most documented conflicts in history, yet even here some stories vanish. In 1864, a collision between a prison transport train and a coal train killed 65 men in a scene of unimaginable carnage. But amid the chaos, 5 Confederate prisoners slipped away into the woods and disappeared forever. No trace, no recapture, no names recorded in any future census. Did they die hidden in the forest, or start new lives under new identities? 10. Raoul Wallenberg, the diplomat who saved thousands. Raoul Wallenberg was a Swedish diplomat whose bravery saved tens of thousands of Hungarian Jews from the Holocaust. But in January 1945, as Soviet forces seized Budapest, Wallenberg was taken into custody. The Soviets claimed he died in a Moscow prison in 1947. Eyewitnesses said they saw him alive years later. The truth remains locked behind Cold War silence. Wallenberg's disappearance is one of the darkest unresolved mysteries of World War II. 11. Heinrich Müller, the Nazi who escaped history. Heinrich Müller, the chief of the Gestapo, was last seen in Hitler's bunker on May 1, 1945, the day after the Führer's suicide. His final recorded words, "We know the Russian methods. I have no intention of being taken prisoner." After that, nothing. The Soviets thought he fled west. The CIA believed he hid in the USSR. Both were wrong. Müller remains the highest-ranking Nazi official never captured or confirmed dead. 12. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, the vanishing of a modern jet. In an age of satellites, GPS, and global surveillance, we like to think that nothing can simply disappear anymore. But on March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 proved us wrong. A Boeing 777 with 239 people aboard vanished from radar. Its transponder switched off. The plane altered course manually and flew into one of the most remote regions on Earth. Only fragments of debris, scattered across the Indian Ocean, have ever been found. No official explanation exists. MH370 is the greatest aviation mystery of the 21st century. Across centuries and continents, these 12 disappearances share one haunting truth. Some stories were never meant to have endings. They remind us that history is not a complete record, it is an incomplete one. A puzzle missing its final pieces. And somewhere out there, perhaps the answers still exist, waiting to be uncovered.